My girlfriend and her parents tried to humiliate me at their family reunion party. So, I revealed my true identity. Now they are panicking and apologizing. It all started with an invitation. My girlfriend, Julia, and I had been dating for almost a year when she asked me to attend her family's reunion party. She made it seem like a casual, fun gathering, a chance for me to meet her extended family, eat some good food, and relax. But something felt off. Julia's parents had never been particularly warm to me. They were always polite on the surface, but I could sense the judgment in their eyes whenever we interacted. They'd ask subtle questions about my job, my background, and my family, always hinting that I wasn't on their level. You see, I don't usually talk about my background much. I live a relatively simple life despite my financial status. I work a normal job, at least, that's what people assume. I don't flaunt my wealth or connections because I don't see the point. So, when Julia kept insisting I come to the reunion, I hesitated. But then she said, "Come on, it'll be fun. My whole family will be there, and I want to show you off." That should have been my first red flag. The party was held at a massive estate owned by Julia's uncle. The moment I stepped onto the property, I could feel the atmosphere shift. It was as if everyone had been waiting for me, watching, whispering. Julia clung to my arm, smiling a little too brightly. "Babe, let's go meet my parents." Her father, Mr. Peterson, gave me a firm handshake, his grip tighter than necessary. "So, you're the one dating my daughter. Interesting." Her mother, a well-dressed woman with an icy smile, looked me up and down. I must say, Julia has always had unique tastes. Before I could respond, Julia's cousin, a guy named Brandon, smirked and said, "Julia told us you work in IT. Must be rough keeping up in this crowd." A few people chuckled. I just smiled. It's not so bad. I quickly realized what was happening. Julia's parents had orchestrated something. They wanted to embarrass me, make me feel small. Maybe they thought I'd be intimidated by their wealth, their connections. I decided to play along. Dinner was served at a long, elegant table with over 30 guests. As we ate, the conversation somehow kept circling back to careers, achievements, and wealth. Julia's father took the lead. "So, OP, what do you do again?" Before I could answer, Julia jumped in. "Oh, he works in IT. He's good with computers." The way she said it was patronizing, almost mocking. Her parents exchanged amused glances. Mr. Peterson smirked. "IT? Huh? That's respectable. But you must struggle to make ends meet with today's economy." I could feel multiple eyes on me, waiting for my reaction. Julia's uncle chimed in. "No shame in working hard, but I hope you have a backup plan. The corporate world is brutal." I took a sip of my drink and chuckled. "I think I'm doing just fine." Brandon leaned forward. "Man, I bet it's tough trying to keep up with Julia's lifestyle." Julia laughed. I try not to make him feel bad about it. That one stung, but I kept my cool. Then came the final blow. Julia's mother turned to me and said, "Well, since you're part of the family now, we were thinking we could help you out. Maybe find you a better job? We have connections, you know." There it was. The ultimate insult wrapped in fake generosity. They wanted to put me in my place. I put my fork down, wiped my mouth, and smiled. It was time. I leaned back in my chair and said, "I really appreciate the concern, but I think I'll manage. In fact, I think some of you might already be familiar with my work." Julia rolled her eyes. "Babe, don't be stubborn. My family is trying to help you." I smirked. "Well, Mr. Peterson, you mentioned the corporate world being brutal. That's true, but I don't really experience that firsthand." He frowned. "What do you mean?" I pulled out my phone and tapped a few buttons. "You see, I don't just work in IT. I own a cybersecurity firm. In fact, our company handles security for several major corporations, including..." I turned to Julia's father. "Your company, Mr. Peterson." Silence. His face went pale. "That's not possible." I shrugged. "You can check. My firm has had a contract with your company for 3 years. It's funny. You actually signed off on it." Julia's mother choked on her wine. Brandon muttered, "No way." But I wasn't done. "You mentioned struggling to keep up with Julia's lifestyle," I said. looking at her cousin. That's interesting because I actually own multiple properties, including this one. Gasps. Julia turned to me, her eyes wide. What? I pulled out my phone again and showed an email. I bought this estate a few months ago as an investment. The sale went through under my holding company. I guess your uncle didn't check the fine print. Her uncle looked like he was about to faint. And then, the final blow. One more thing, I said, turning to Julia. I knew something felt off about this dinner. So, I had my assistant do a little digging. I pulled up a text message and read aloud. Julia, my boyfriend is so clueless. I can't wait to see his face when my family roasts him. It's going to be hilarious. Gasps. Again. Julia's face drained of color. Babe, I stood up. No need to explain. I get it now. You wanted to humiliate me, make me feel like I wasn't good enough. But the truth is, I was never the one out of place here. The panic was immediate. Mr. Peterson tried to recover. Listen, son, I think we got off on the wrong foot. No, I interrupted. You got caught. Julia grabbed my arm. Please, let's talk about this privately. I gently pulled away. We're done, Julia. She started crying, but I didn't care. Her mother, suddenly desperate, said, We didn't mean any harm. Please, don't hold this against us. I just smiled. I don't hold grudges, but I do believe in consequences. Then I walked out, leaving them in stunned silence. Later that night, my phone blew up with texts, apologies, excuses, please, but I ignored them. Because for the first time in that entire relationship, I finally saw their true colors, and I knew I deserved better.